Hello, welcome back to the Wub podcast with myself, Ryan Levine, Mitchell Cimino, Calvin Harrigal, aka Wub, and Travis Tangeman. So Travis was not here last week, but he is back. Momentary something out to lunch podcast or whatever. And then that's the gimmick now is we pick a card, a new card to name our filled with doubt, whatever.
Holding all the cards.
Holding all the cards. Holding all the cards, of course. Yeah, hang 10, etc. All right, so on the docket, Gencon just finished up. I was the only one of us four that was at Gencon, but I don't have that much to say about it really. But we'll get to it. TMNT pre-releases are this weekend. We now know every card. We've seen, I think, every alt art. Like at Gencon, there were all the alt arts on display, whatever. Like now we've seen basically everything the set has to offer, and I think we have a much better idea we have a more holistic view of the set. And then we're gonna talk about the ban list, or I guess lack thereof. Although technically something changed, but we'll get to it. It's a whole thing. So I guess just jumping right into Gen Con, I was kind of giving Mitch some of the play-by-plays as it was going. Wub was out of work thing in Singapore, so it was mostly just I was giving Mitch the play-by-play as I was going through the DC deck building booth or the Cryptozoic booth, whatever. But as far as
you can say what it actually is,
yeah, yeah, the DC deck builder booth,
yeah, Cryptozoic Entertainment, yeah, sure, buddy, whatever. Put the promos in the bag.
That's so
good.
It's
pretty accurate. Yeah, I mean that's what we were there for. Anyway, so the UVS Games booth this year was a little different. It was, for those of you that have never been there. Generally, the last couple of years, UVS Games has a booth at Gen Con, and they have some display for their new products. So I don't even remember what the display was 2 years ago. I guess it must have been Jetburn because that was coming out. No, that was the first announcement that the set was called Jetburn, I think, maybe even at Gen Con 2 years ago. But anyways, they had the My Hero Academia promos, and then, you filled out like a survey and you bought something and you did some stuff and they gave you the promos. Like, you can look those up still. Those are like the snack time, the alt art. It basically all the ones of the MHA characters eating food, or the ice cream, were from that Gen Con.
Dust by now.
Yeah,
yeah, they're yeah.
Turned to dust.
I
think they had like Bebop and Trigun posters that year.
They did. That was where they showed off. They showed off the character cards for the first time, and the playmats they had, the special ones, the Trigun and yes, and the
they had ones. They had the Junji Ito Uzumaki promos that curl in on themselves infinitely, and those.
Yes. All right. So,
the spirals.
Yeah. Last year it was AOT was there. So you got the. I'm hesitant to even call them alt arts. They were just the reverse symbol color of some characters from the set. So there was the whole one that people were probably, if you were following this at all at the time, you probably know about people being upset that the Sasha promo was really hard to get. You had to like go to a UVS like dinner at a restaurant, like not in the venue. Like you had to go like 3 blocks away. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
You had to walk 3 blocks to Buca de Beppo, be there early enough that they didn't accidentally not give you a promo, and then you would receive a Sasha that said when your monsters are attacked.
No, that was Hanji. Which there was a Hanji also at that one that says when your monsters cannot be attacked.
Sorry.
Yeah. There is a Hanji that says your monsters cannot be attacked. That is true. Anyways, so this year was 4 TMNT promos and 4 Critical Role promos. And there's been a huge point of contention about the Crit Role promos, and I don't entirely disagree. And this is coming from somebody that also purchased them, which I'm going to explain how that process worked. And some of you might be like, wow, you are a psycho. And to which I will say, yes. So basically, the requirement for getting the TMNT promos, 2 of them where you did a survey and you followed them on social media. I was like, what even was the other one? Like, it was so inconsequential, I forgot. Those were for the alternate arts of Young and Free and the one April attack that looks at your top of your opponent's deck, whose name is escaping me. Spiral Drones, but I don't remember what it's actually called in this game. Spiral Drones. I don't know what it's actually called in this game. And then if you spent $20, you got a promo for the TMNT, which is the 4-hander with 40 health or whatever. And then if you did a learn to play demo, or if you already knew how to play and you just had a UGN, like an active UGN account, they would give you a Splinter, which was the backup from the starter deck. So those were the TMNT promos. And then for the Critical Role promos, there were 2 characters. There was a Dorian and Fern with 1 support card each. With Fern, you got a backup called Little Mister. With Dorian, you got Dorian's Loot, an asset and a backup. And to get those, if you spent $75 at the booth on one, or if you spent $75 on Critical Role products, you got 1 of them. So if you spent $75 on Critical Role stuff, you got Dorian and his loot, or Fern and the backup. And for the first 2 days, if you bought a booster box and both starter decks, you would get both, which honestly comes out to be about $150 anyway, so that was kind of redundant. And then once they ran out of booster boxes, it basically just became, if you bought 4 challenger decks, they would give you both promo packs, because a challenger deck after tax is like almost $75, and they were out of boxes, so they were like, whatever. And that is kind of crazy when you compare it to previous years. Like last year for the AOT promos, there was an Aaron promo that did require you to spend $70. However, it was also, they priced it that way specifically for buying 2 challenger decks, and the Godzilla and Ghidorah challenger decks were pretty new. So it actually wasn't that unreasonable for somebody to just want to buy 2 Godzilla challenger decks or to buy 2 Ghidorah challenger decks. Like, I actually don't think that was that crazy. We just did that. Like, we just bought the Godzilla challenger decks that we were missing to get our playsets, and then got Aaron promos or whatever. This year, I do think it's a little bit unreasonable to ask somebody to buy challenger decks that are a year and a half old to get the promo. That's how I feel about it. I don't know if that seems outlandish. And then, as obviously I bought 12. So
yeah,
because I wanted play sets of the asset and the, I mean, it's more so like, I know people from my locals will want them. I will probably just end up giving some of them to them, just what I paid for it, like, you know, whatever. Like, I'm just middlemaning of like, these will be things that people at my local store will want. I was there, they were not. I will, you know, get some, like, I will come back with, you know, 4 of the characters, and somebody will want them. So it is whatever. Like, I'm not going to hoard it like a dragon. I'm not going to hoard, you know, 4 Dorians or whatever, but still, it's just like, it is a little odd that was how they went about it. They announced them 2 days ahead of time, right? Something like that. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Tuesday
literally
or something.
Yes, yeah.
It was just so
Literally 2 days
weird.
before.
I don't know. It's such a weird shit, especially because the TMNT promos, the new product, like Turtles is the new product, those were basically free. Like 3 of the 4 of them were free, and then 1 of them was $20. And they didn't have TMNT packs because the set is not out yet, but they had a TMNT con exclusive playmat that, if you all remember, last year I think they had like the demo mat, which just has like the UVS, it just has like the progressive difficulty zones and a little thing for your staging area. It was like that, but it was TMNT themed.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good idea. I was like, oh, you're making a like newer player, you know, like how, not like how to play, but like a newer player, like zone template, and it's TMNT themed. That's your new thing. And then if you got it, I think it was like, if you bought that and like a thing of sleeves, then you would get the TMNT promo. I was like, that makes sense to me. Spending $150 to get the 2 Critical Role promos does not make that much sense to me. Right? Like that, like that's
No,
the one
that's-
that's
no,
where
absolutely not.
that has the
That
disconnect
is
for me.
heinous. That is heinous.
And
yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
even if Crit Roll was the newest, product, or even the most recent product, but it wasn't. Crit Roll came out 6 months ago, right? Like our last Critical Role product was 6 months ago, almost 6 months ago. And it just seemed very odd. And then this year was also different because the UVS booth was also divided in half. It was the Universe's side for that UVS Games was running, and then they shared the space with Riot, who had Riftbound stuff, there wasn't really a whole lot going on for that end for Riftbound because you couldn't do the demos at the booth in the exhibit hall. Then there was a different booth in the play area where it was the UVS Games booth where we had the Turtles pre-releases. They had 3 Turtles pre-releases scheduled, one on Thursday, one on Friday, one on Saturday. And then across the aisle from them were the Riftbound demos, which, from what I gathered, not many of the UVS Games employees, I guess, that I've interacted with at events were like hands-on running the Riftbound demos. It was mostly the Riot people, but you know, all the usual suspects were out and about at the UVS demos and whatever. And I did play. Well, play is generous. I showed up for and entered 2 Turtles pre-releases. On Friday, I built my deck. I played round 1. I played against a newer player. You know, he had never played like standard constructed, but he had played Clash decks and he'd played Challenger decks. So he knew the rules, you know, so we had like a nice game flow going, but I'm pretty sure the pre-release was like 30-minute best of 1, and he was playing Metalhead, which is the 37 health character from, you know, so like, and I was playing whoever I was playing, you know, had 30 something health, and we did not finish game 1 because neither of our characters put stats on our moves, and we just both had like 14 health by the end. And then the prizing was 1 pack per win, and the other people I was traveling with wanted to go to dinner, and I was like, I will just concede to you instead of us drawing and presumably nobody getting a pack. I don't actually know how it would have ended up, but I decided instead of finding out, I said,
you ripped the pack in half.
Enjoy. Yeah, literally ripped the pack in half. I was like, you know, enjoy, like I'm gonna go have dinner, whatever. So you know, I dropped after our draw, and I just left. And then I learned later that it was AOT 3 packs per win. So you got 1 pack of AOT 3 per win at the TMNT pre-release. Incredible. And when I came back Saturday morning, I got my packs, and I was literally signed up for another event elsewhere by accident and just took my packs and left because I did not want to miss the other thing that I had to go stand in line for. So while I technically entered 2 TMNT pre-releases, I played like 0.3 of 1. So and from what I understand from watching other games as well, is like I think you have to pick a character that puts stats on your moves. If you're playing or you will just not finish games because the characters just have so much health. And I think that's kind of been a problem with the pre-release sealed play since AOT, and even then, like the character health totals are not as bloated in this set as they were from AOT 1, but it's not that far off. It's like when we go back to Jetburn, I think Endeavor has the highest health of a 6-hander, right? From that set, and it's 31. Yeah. I think this set has April has 27. Literally every other 6-hander has 30 or more. Like 30 health is no longer an outlier, is no longer like a noticeably higher amount of health. It's 30, 31, 33, 32, 5-hander has 37. You know, 6-hander with 33, 6-hander with 31, 30, 31. It's just, it takes a while. It takes 5 or 6 attacks if your character doesn't put stats on the moves, because you're playing pretty blank attacks. So I would say that would be my recommendation for like, as much as Rocksteady really doesn't seem like he'll be that good, I feel like in sealed, he might just be fine. Like, I think if you're just putting 5 damage on something, you play an attack, you don't click the button, they, you know, if they don't block it because they're afraid of a follow-up where you click the button, then great, you got your chip in and you build. If they do block it and they have to sell out a little bit, slam a second attack, click that button. Hit him, hit him for 12.
You got to pull slams or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah.
I definitely, for the AOT 3 like pre-releases and stuff, forgot that Armin unflipped stuff and was just using him for 5 damage on things.
Yes, I believe it.
Like my opposing Armin did that and unflipped something, and I went, huh. Like stats just kill people in pre-releases. Like it's just like
Yeah.
yeah.
I think if they want anyone to take pre-releases any kind of seriously, they need to have like a standardized character that everyone plays, like the Universal Fighter or something. And maybe you can like pick one from each hand size, just like a vanilla 7-hander, 6-hander, 5-hander, and just your card's got to do the heavy lifting. Draft a good deck. Don't rely on your character.
Sure.
Otherwise, I don't see pre-release or sealed or anything like that being like good to playable, even.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like the character health totals definitely will make it more difficult, but this has to be, at least Ryan, from your deck building perspective, was this better than like Exandria, where I feel like there were characters like I remember pulling Pumat and having like one backup in my entire like setup. And then like there were other characters where I just couldn't do anything, like Caduceus as well.
Yes. So
Like
so
spell characters with no spells,
I pulled Donatello, and I had no assets in my packs at all. I pulled one foundation that treats itself as an asset, and
+1 damage.
Plus, if I drew, if I drew it, and I was like, well, guess I won't do that. I don't even remember who I ended up picking, because I did not think that my options were great. Who did I didn't play Rocksteady, which I think was a mistake. I should have just played Rocksteady. Leonardo was the only, Donatello was the only turtle I pulled. I pulled Superfly and did not pull any schemes, so I didn't play him. And maybe I played Leatherhead. Oh, I played Leatherhead, and I played against Metalhead or whatever I played against Metalhead, and Leatherhead says after attack is not blocked, you discard a card to give your attack extra damage. Well, Metalhead says after you take damage, your opponent discards a card. So when I attacked Leatherhead and he just didn't block it, I have to discard a card for Metalhead. Am I discarding a second card for Leatherhead? Probably not. So generally, my turn was first form, put one card in your card pool, play an attack. He didn't block because he had his card pool stuffed. I discarded a card. I tanked, didn't discard a second card for +1 damage, and then built and passed. And that was the gameplay loop of our sealed. So it could just be that Metalhead was just a very, very, very slow character for sealed, and just like it, just Metalhead being on the table. I cannot even fathom a Metalhead mirror. I don't think you'd finish game 1 in an hour. You have 37 health, 5-hander with 37 health. You have to discard a card. Oh, and flip a rival foundation. Like,
you're both playing
you're both playing 4-handers with no stage. Really. It's like, I actually think a Metalhead mirror in pre-release would literally take an hour. Like, that is just, it is impossible. Like, game 1, like, it is impossible to finish a game. Like, it just, maybe you play the enhance, whatever, and then eventually, because on your third attack, you have +3 to your keyword rating and you powerful 6 something. Like, maybe, right. But then they block that one, right? Like, so who cares?
Yeah. So, like, damned if you do.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the biggest complaint I guess I heard, I mean, I wouldn't even call this a complaint, just maybe like it's like what I heard the people around me at the table kind of like vocalizing were like, I got this character, like they pulled an alt art of a character and they went, oh, I want to play this cool art though, this cool alt art, and they read it and it's keyword locked, whatever, to ally or charge or slam or whatever, and they look through their deck and they go, well, this cool alt art character I pulled says, give my allies, get extra damage for allies in my card pool or whatever. Or maybe it was the rock setting. They were like, I want to play this, but I only have 5 attacks in my deck that are the keywords for him. And yeah, I guess like
you know what?
it's
That's a good point.
a lot of the common attacks, not even just commons, a lot of the attacks in this set, more than I think I realized, just don't have any keywords. Like a lot of them just don't have keywords, which maybe there are just a lot in all sets that don't have keywords, and I just like haven't been that. But I want to say like half of them just don't have any keywords, something like that. Like a lot of cards, or at least in the lower rarities, especially in the lower rarities, a lot of them just don't have keywords. So
Yeah, I remember a lot of the assets not having weapon. There was like something
Yeah.
that picked up one difficulty or less weapons assets, and then
Or at
like
least
a bunch of the nunchucks didn't.
yeah, or at least now they don't have keyword. Is that a lot of them, like the keyword distribution, didn't seem to line up with the character. Like, how do I put this? A lot of people basically just had characters they wanted to play, and they did not have enough attacks to, like, with the keywords that needed them. And they were like, oh, this is, whatever. Like, so many of the commons and uncommons didn't have the keywords that they needed, and they were just like, my deck doesn't do anything, it doesn't make sense, or whatever. Like, I'm just playing this because I have to, whatever. But also, something that I noticed in mine that I guess I like don't. I'm actually going to check this right now, because if what I think is true, that's crazy. Wow. Hold on. Before I say this, I need to check a couple of things and make sure this isn't regular and I'm not just losing my mind. Maybe this always happens. Okay. So I noticed when I was opening my packs, I had a pretty significantly larger amount of attacks than foundations. And I'm not sure if that's normal. I felt like that can't be the case. And I just checked. AOT2 and AOT3 have almost the same number of attacks and foundations. Like AOT2 has 79 attacks, 78 foundations. AOT3 has, I think, kind of similar, like not very many. The difference is like 2. TMNT has 69 foundations and 80 attacks. 87 attacks, sorry. A pretty significant, like basically minus 8 foundations plus 8 attacks.
That's crazy.
So when I was opening my packs and I just sorted them to attacks and foundations, I had pretty significantly more attacks than foundations. And I almost didn't have enough foundations to like build a deck for sealed, like whatever the recommended number of foundation is supposed to be. But it was like, I think you want to have like 24 to 26 foundations or something in a 40 card deck or whatever for sealed. I think I literally pulled like 25 foundations like in my packs, and I cut like 2 that were just like 3 diffs that did absolutely nothing. But this is obviously a small sample size of just one thing of pre-release, but that's not an issue I'd ever noticed previously when playing pre-release kits or whatever. So it stuck out to me that when I just had my stack of foundations and attacks next to each other, the attack stack was noticeably larger.
Attack stack mentioned.
Oh no.
I'm just glad we don't have to play this format in like real tournament settings. Like there was a point where they were considering that, and I'm just
yeah. Well, I mean, so draft is still a little different than sealed, but yes, I know what you mean. It would still be miserable. Yes, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I am glad that this kind of that didn't pan out, right? And that we are not playing sealed in a real tournament setting. And truly, like, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure at a certain point they did believe it would be good, but as it has happened, I don't think it would have been enjoyable. Yeah. Like, I really don't. So, well, that's the pre-release experience and Gen Con and whatever. So now I guess we should talk about the actual TMNT set that is out soon. Pre-releases are this weekend?
This weekend, yeah. This weekend.
Yeah. Okay, so
by saying this weekend, we can't lie and say we recorded
this early. Well, this had to come out after Gen Con, obviously. So we've
That- yes,
we have
yeah.
like timestamped
We've
it that
dated
way.
it, yeah.
We've dated it after Gen Con, pre-TMNT pre-release.
After Gen Con, post Wub return from another country, post me stabilizing,
Mhm.
and yeah, here we are.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah.
So now that we've
We're
seen
alive.
the whole set, I do not particularly think any of these characters are competitively viable. Do any of you have one that you think is good that I'm overlooking, or are we kind of in agreement?
I think that there's something there probably with Splinter, like his ability to untap.
You've just seen me play him a bit.
I have seen you play it, and I have seen 2 other people talking about cool things to do in Splinter, which is enough to lead me to believe that it's worth considering.
He's
sorry,
okay.
you can go ahead.
Yeah, he's neat. He has a cool combo. He has the all symbol, so I'm interested in him. That's the gist of it.
The
I
all symbol.
yeah.
symbol.
So Bishop in theory is like a character, right? Like this is a character that was banned in a prior era. Totally different time, but like the text on this was banned.
I will say the
but-
last 10 times someone has said that the character has been unplayable. Literally the last 10 times somebody said this used to be
agree.
banned.
That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. They printed Gemini Man's text on Bert.
They made it better.
Yes.
They made it
not
better than
Gemini
Gemini.
Man.
That was Skullman.
It's Skullman,
It's
yes.
Skullman.
They made him better than Skullman, right? Like
Once again,
strictly
Brian's
better.
free. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
He was
So-
just better Skullman.
So
and
that
then
was
just could
different.
walk.
That was they made a
Yeah.
banned character better. Which is
Yeah,
it's
not
fine.
not how do we retrain this to make it be like fine? Like how do we just crank the lever all the way in the wrong direction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
it's
go
kind of
full- we go
like-
full Yzma.
It's kind of like Exandria to me though, in that like I think there are interesting things these characters do. When I look at the current state of things and the fact that there were no changes, etc., I feel like this is just going to be the Denver regional again, where there's going to be like 2 TMNT cards in the top cut. Like
Yeah.
well, they'll add a couple things. Maybe there's some good foundations that we're not immediately thinking of, stuff like that. But I don't immediately see any of these characters really quite cutting it either. But I also haven't really played with them a ton, so maybe I haven't found something yet. Like I'm still in the benefit of the doubt phase a little bit. Still coping,
Yeah.
I guess. But
Yeah.
I think that if someone can figure out how to not explode on turn 2 as Donnie, that character is really fucked up. I think that character hyper scales and gives like 7 to 8 damage on every move past like turn 3.
Sure.
And he gets to do some crazy stuff with I think it's Deku 4's Ultra. The one that says if it's 15 damage or more, they
Yes.
discard a
Yeah.
card and you draw a
Vindicating
yeah.
vindicating
That's
smash,
funny.
yeah.
Vindicating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's what? He's good in Void attuned.
Good
right?
Void, yeah.
Good
Or not
Void.
attuned, but okay.
Yeah.
I thought he's potentially pretty funny with the like Mechazoid stuff because you can sling them as free attacks. So like when your stage is wide later, you don't actually have to check them and they get a bunch of damage as 2 mid 8, 9, 10s or whatever, right? Like the foundation that plays them for free, and then you can build them with the scheme if you want.
Is the Scrap Cannon Momo card that like lets you jettison your assets from stage for powerful? Is that good symbol?
Yes, it
It's
is.
good symbol, yeah.
So you can like double dip on that. You can press Donnie first, then sack your stage and send 85 million damage at someone.
I mean, it's
Correct.
effectively powerful 4 then, right? Like it's just
Yes.
1 for each asset.
Sure, but that like it does not take long for that to get to lethal
That
if you're
that
like
kills
playing
people.
properly.
It
Yeah.
does kill people.
Like if you're
I
playing a
guess-
normal game with people and your game plan's going to like plan in your 7-hander, that's like a reasonable thing to expect to happen on turn like.
Yeah. So counterpoint, and by counterpoint, I mean the thing Travis literally already said. Does this matter when your opponent plays a 24 damage Titan pile on turn 2? and you have
Oh,
20, and you
absolutely
have
not, but,
23
like,
health. You know?
absolutely not. But here's the thing: when has anything that we have thought
Hmm.
is going to be like good and everyone plays what everyone?
Well, we
actually plays?
watched them
We're
all
right
play
about
it.
when things are good.
We
We
watched them
did
all play it
watch
last
all of
week.
them
This
No,
isn't.
no, we are
This isn't.
no, we are right about like things being good, and only half the time do people actually play them.
No, they've already played this one. This is the one. This isn't. This is the one that we watched them play already.
Yes, they're not going to mysteriously drop Hanj because after nothing got banned from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this
mean, for
time I will
me-
have this time I will have the violent anima shots, so they should.
Yeah. I definitely found like the symbol rotation thing to me is really lame. Coming off of like really enjoying messing around with and like building Zeke for a few months leading up to that regional, and then seeing that TMNT just has 0 cards for him is such like a downer to me as like a
Welcome
deck
to my
builder.
world, Wub.
I know. It's just like, and yeah, I know Chaos Life symbol are insane.
My character got
right?
printed
Like
in
it's
February. and
pretty
I just
deserved.
Finally got a good symbol card.
Yeah. It's just so like, sure, I guess nothing got banned from the deck that won the last regional. Tight. But
Yeah,
like,
I agree with
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Which will
Which is
eventually lead into my like conspiracy theory, like, you know, bulletin board of string connecting to where I pin all the blame on one thing, and we'll get there. But yeah, I agree with you in that, like, the symbol, I will say, I think probably of all of the changes of the last couple of years, which, you know, starting with AOT 1, the pretty substantial changes, we're now pretty much a year through. I do think my least favorite change has been the distribution of symbols in sets, and not every set getting a new symbol, or not every set having every symbol. And there are characters that just, through seemingly random acts, get more support than others. We'll come back to it as well. But like, yeah, very, at least with when characters had 3 symbols, very, 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 very few characters. I think it was like fewer than 5 characters got no cards they could play in AOT. Right? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
It was
so, yeah.
it was an
Sounds
extremely
correct, yeah.
it was an extremely small amount of characters, because with 3 symbol characters, obviously they have, you know, more tune symbols. And then now we're getting into the point where four of the 6 AOT symbols are not in Turtles, right? Order, Chaos, Death, Life are not in Turtles. I wish I had checked before I started this tangent real quick how many of the AOT characters. I'm just gonna check AOT
have those
3.
symbols only.
I'm only gonna check AOT 3 because I'm pretty sure the character symbol distribution is the same for all of them. I think 1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, it's like peak Zeke,
yeah,
Annie, like characters people
5,
enjoy playing, right?
5,
Yes.
6. It looks like 6 out of the 15 characters in AOT 3, unless I can't read. I believe it is 6 out of the 15 characters of AOT 3 don't get any new cards from Turtles. And that is a consequence of the 2 symbol character design, the attuned and the rotating symbols, you know, yada, 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 yada. And yes, some of these characters have been getting just shafted for a year, you know, by just not having the AOT symbols. And like some characters, like Toga 3, has been just eating with 3 symbols every single set. And granted, not that even that character has been doing particularly well, but it's just, you get the flip side of some of these characters have 3 symbols that just get support. And now actually Toga 3 gets no cards from Turtles, which is, you know, whatever. But
how the tables have turned.
yeah, literally how the tables have turned.
The consequence of this also is that like AOT, from what we can generally agree on, being stronger than this set, right?
Mm-hmm.
That plus the symbol change just means none of these cards are going to show up.
Yes.
Like, if these characters are not testing as well, people are just going to keep playing the same things and then add, if a good card popped up for their deck, maybe they'll run it. And that's, it'll look like the Denver Regional. And that's kind of unfortunate from like a sense of wanting to see things change and move forward. And, this can segue into Deku, which is its own.
And there wasn't even
monster.
a rotation for this one too,
dang
right?
it.
Like
You said the
there wasn't
name.
even a rotation to take cards away, which, rotation I don't think did nearly as much this year as it did last year. I think everybody pretty much agrees on that.
Yeah.
Mainly because obviously set 1 had a lot of incredible like A to S tier characters. And that was what you built your deck around. Set 2 and 3 don't have very many characters that were very good. Right? Like very, very few.
Here.
Yeah, like just most of them were not great. So we kind of just lost like a couple staples for a couple symbols, but not like that much. And obviously some characters disproportionately lost more than others, but
the most impactful part of rotation, like Wub just said, was that since Sero 2 rotated, there was nothing holding Wub back from becoming a monster.
Yeah. I was no longer making 8 decks under that guy for each new card he got.
Yeah.
Dear God.
Okay.
The whole world has finally forgotten Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of what we were just talking about, and where I was saying this is where my conspiracy theories stringboard
Great Deku segue.
Yeah. Is Deku is pretty much the poster child for every problem, I think that. And this is Mitch predicted this a year ago. He said this after the very first AOT set, and then Deku came out or whatever, and he said, this character has 5 symbols. This character has 5 symbols. He will eventually just get a lot of attuned cards, and he'll just be able to do anything he wants. And for 7 months, 8 months, almost a year, that just wasn't true because he didn't have many of the TMNT symbols. He had 2 TMNT symbols. Sorry, he didn't have the AOT symbols. He had 2 AOT symbols. And I think Air was actually pretty weak in AOT 1 and 2. I don't think it was till AOT 3 that I think Air kind of got like the saturation of cards, and I think Air is like a very good symbol. And then now he gets Void and Water in TMNT, and he gets Good, and Air is still in TMNT, and oh no, he doesn't have any life cards. Life was one of the better AOT symbols anyway. He gets to use also, like half the set of literally half of it.
Yeah. Also, Air in, like you were saying, it wasn't crazy in like the first 2 waves of AOT, but like AOT 3 plus Hex gave you Sweeping Daggers and Goblin Bolt.
Yes.
Like
yes.
You just got like 8 attacks to throw into your deck if you really wanted to, and then you build anything else around it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I will not sit here and tell you that I don't think Deku's a problem, because I think he is. That he is a problem. And I don't think that there's a real way to solve him outside of like his errata being scraping 2 symbols off of him. And then just like errata, we have removed 2 symbols from Deku. Or like literally saying, hey, you're allowed to press the form once per attack that you're about to play. Like you are allowed to commit to put 3/3 on something, play an attack, then commit to put 3/3 on something, play an attack. Because I think that's like the intention, and we've talked about it before. Where like we definitely see that that's what they thought people were going to do, but in actuality. Sorry, brief pause. We were sniped by the UVS Pinkertons while we were talking about their golden boy. Anyway. Yeah, so like the intention and the design behind Deku like just doesn't work. And then like maybe Deku was a character, like we can make all these guesses and assertions where like, oh, maybe he was designed before they talked about and made the shift towards Attune, because like
I have to assume that's the case, because I get the idea of making a 5 symbol character pre-attuned is still interesting because it means
Right.
Deku has 5 different deck building directions he gets to go. And
Yeah.
none of his cards are attuned, which is another
Right.
thing that makes me feel like he was designed before that direction was
Correct.
decided
Yeah, 'cause,
upon.
like,
because if he wasn't, surely, like, you know,
all of your cards would just have 5
Smokescreen would be
symbols.
attuned on it. I mean, maybe, yeah, but like, you know, any of his kit would
Right.
be attuned,
like,
and
on
you would,
top
but
of
I don't know. It's a
Yeah, on top of that too, it's like because his cards are not attuned and they have just the 3 symbols on them, you have to make certain sacrifices to play like specific types of cards, right? Like Defiant
yeah,
Stance
for
is a card
only
that
his
did not come.
cards.
Yeah, for only
Which
his
is
cards.
so
Yeah,
weird.
Defiant Stance is very clearly a Deku card, but it did not come in his starter deck. It came in the set. And like if you want to play Deku on the Void symbol, there are trade-offs, right? Like there's good cards on Void that you can be playing, but you don't get to play Defiant Stance. And like if you're playing Deku on Air, you don't get access to those good Void cards, etc. But like with Attuned, you just don't have to make any sacrifices. You can just pick the best main symbol and like we were saying, play the most heinous defense tricks of all time on whatever off symbols that you can, uh, and just go to town, right? Like you are a lot of the decks that are like the worst to sit across from, and I apologize to Wub, are decks where you're just playing a different game than your opponent. And
Yep.
like most of my playtesting now is just me going, "Hey Wub, what would you like to play into?" Him being an affable and kind person and saying you can play whatever you want, and me not being kind enough to go okay and then not picking Deku because I just want to play Deku. Like Wub is too nice to be like, stop doing what you're doing. Play me with real decks. But like I should. So like you're not playing a real game of universes when you sit across from Deku, and that's what you get to leverage. Because if you're playing a Deku deck in game 1 in an open field, your opponent is at an inherent disadvantage regardless of if you go first or second because you're just doing something different. And if they have answers, they cannot bring in enough of them that you don't have ways to cover them. Because if they do, then they spike their whole tournament and lose to everything else because their sideboard doesn't have like redundant answers. So like it's just really annoying and it warps a lot of like potential decision making around it if it is the best deck in the format. And with more sets of symbols released for support for him, if they keep doing Attune stuff, he's just going to be. And he has like 6 different effects that if you took 2 of them off and put them on a new 1 character, that would be like a real character.
Yeah.
Right?
I am a big hater of the Attune system for multiple reasons. Specifically, the main one is like it homogenizes deck building to like an extreme degree. Like there are some cards that you see on these symbols, and you're just like, "Oh, I have a life symbol on my character. I guess I'm putting Desperate Plea in my deck." Or like, the new Struggling with Studies reprint is another one that's like, oh wow, that card probably just goes in my air deck that wants to block at least twice, which is
Mhm.
like,
It's water,
oh wow,
but
Yeah,
that's just
or
so
water
easy.
deck,
Or
yeah.
well,
water.
good thing that
Yeah.
Deku has water and air, so it didn't
Correct,
matter what
correct.
symbol he
Didn't
said.
matter
Yeah.
anyway.
Whoops. Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
I'm wondering-
And that's the other reason this like, oh, these characters that have infinite symbols, specifically Deku, is they just get to abuse the shit out of it. And that is the one time where the deck building is not homogenized, is when you have infinite options. So you either have one option, which is your 2 or 3 symbol character gets to play the good ones that are attuned, or you have 5 symbols on your character and you get to play every card in the game for no particular reason.
Mhm.
I actually, thinking about it, part of the reason I became so attached to the all symbol is probably because I didn't want to play with a bunch of attuned nonsense. And like for the last, for the back half of last year, like you could play an all symbol deck and like your cards weren't attuned. And it
Yeah.
just,
Homegrown organic
Yeah.
1 symbol deck.
it's like
Yeah.
these are like the old good ones, yeah.
Just like mom used to make, yeah.
Yeah.
But
this is also, like-
old-fashioned universes player is still doing it old school. 1 symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is also in the absence of like the Hang 10, like I don't even know, like Looney Tunes anvil over our heads, right? Like
Oh yeah.
that
yeah.
card is
Okay,
also its own can of worms.
So that's gonna be my next thing about Deku is that you were saying eventually we'll reach the point where he has so many options he'll just be the best character in the game, whatever. I think we are rapidly approaching that point where pre-rotation Deku was a known deck, right? It was mainly good symbol with Phantom Threat was his way to do
bread and
it.
butter, yeah.
Because the good symbol had the most cancels for responses that would stop the flashed Phantom Threat from just ripping your opponent's head off. And it had the best defensive tools. And now, post-rotation, evil versus good or good versus evil, whatever that action is called, that rotated. That was Deku's main defensive tool of just like, I'm going to throw this Phantom Threat at you, and for every answer you have, I'm going to evil versus good your answer. And we are flashed. You cannot have enhances. They must be responses, whatever. And that's what that is. And that rotated, and it made the and most of the answers, the exception being evade and copy, most of the answer, which was obviously an extremely good answer to Deku, and still now would be a good answer to Deku. And if that card still existed, I might not even be as like hard on this as I am now. Yeah. But because good versus evil versus good, whatever, rotated, now Deku's win condition still exists, but the main defensive tool to protect the win condition was gone. So for a little while, I maintained I think Deku is pretty bad because you can still do this pretty easy to achieve win condition, but the cards that interact with it, if your opponent has one of those cards that interact with it, you lose the game instantly. You stun 10 to yourself just to get Genkai's guidance, and your way of canceling it is gone. Whatever. Or etc. Insert runaway, insert filled with doubt, insert any card that, and then although I will say, even a card like filled with doubt doesn't even stop it from killing you. It just means you are now graciously allowed to interact with it like a normal attack. Surprise, it is a 30 high for 30. Right? So, you still need additional answers. So that's why I think Filled with Doubt isn't even the best answer to Deku. And while Filled with Doubt becomes better and better and better, Deku still kind of skirts around that because they need Filled with Doubt plus an additional answer, and we'll get to it. Now, the reason I think Deku is so good and is approaching, in my opinion, the best, if not the best deck, is Hang 10 and Wingnut Sabotage are leagues better than the other options he previously had. So Hang 10 is one that after you stun 10 yourself or whatever, well, Hang 10 puts 5 of those back. And it's largely uninteractable because that response occurs before Filled with Doubt or Genkai's can even happen, right? That's an earlier window.
It feels like split second in Magic or like Super Poly in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes,
where it's like you cannot do anything about this.
And the craziest implication to it as well is like by virtue of having to jettison your staging area to like put the stats on these things, theoretically, if your opponent like quote unquote fights you on the stack or like at response speed, they can like win if they have 2, or if you try to go off without an answer for their answer, you get punished, right? But because these resolve before all of that, I can just jettison my entire staging area, including a stopping for breakfast, then re-ready it, and then go, okay, do you have the action now that I've re-readied my stopping for breakfast? Cool. And then I got to use like every part of the buffalo, right? Like it's crazy.
Or just like, it's not even, and then it's also, even if they have an action that stops it, we are no longer in the Deku is vulnerable stage of they just tapped 10 to Phantom Threat flash it, and then you Genkai'd it, and then now they are vulnerable. Granted, he's not even totally vulnerable. He still has tap for flash 0 speed a move, which is crazy. But like most decks, if your opponent has no ready foundations and they have flash a move, put it to 0, that's not enough, right? That'll blank 1 attack. Most decks can still probably kill you when you completely shields down. Hang 10 is draw 5 cards, ready half your stage. Oh, now you like Filled with Doubt is blank, right? It doesn't do anything. Genkai's removes it, but even if they now it's still a 20 high 20 or a 20 mid 20. Like, you know what I mean? That's the thing. Yep. It's not just an attack. Like, it's not just a commit 5 of your stage, draw 5. It's a 20 mid 20 that's doing that. And if you're not answering it in the most efficient way possible, I mean, Hang 10 is like, that one is just so crazy to me because yes, even if you have the speed reset to not die to hang 10, they just they're just building an unbreakable wall until eventually they will just hang 10 twice in the same turn, or they'll hang 10 into Phantom Threat, or hang 10 into Wingnut Sabotage. And it's just so layered and so difficult to actually interact with, because the cards, now we've reached the point where there is not a silver bullet interaction for Deku. Different cards are required to beat different points of his interaction. Like, Hero's Upbringing is now probably the only one that actually just says he has to end his turn.
Yeah.
Even then, when he does what? His third form, right? Second?
Yes.
It's a second? Okay. If he
Yeah,
does two,
he draws 2.
he still draws 2 and readies 2 of the 4 he committed.
Yeah.
And that's not even good for you.
And you still take 10.
And you still take, and you, it's still a 12 mid 10.
You take 10 after clogging your card pool one and
destroying one of your foundation. It's like even the card that is literally the best answer to it is just so bad. And it's like,
his card also has EX too, so if he has a momentum, he's also drawing a third card and readying.
And readying a third, yeah.
If he goes Fajin into it, he can just use the EX on it instead of using the EX on Fajin.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and that's momentum. I guess that's where we've gotten now for me is, and then I'm even gonna just briefly, we're gonna touch on Wingnut Sabotage. That card is insanity. I truly think your rival cannot play enhances during this attack is the craziest line of text on anything.
I do not understand.
Yeah. So it feels like, you know how unyielding to Sear and Glacial is like the like upgrade that became a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
It's like total erasure binding on crack.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It's like it went to that.
Yeah.
So it's like they went between total erasure binding and fatality, and they were like, yes, this is the good one. Hey, right here in the middle, that's where we should have it.
Yeah.
Card that was just okay to bad, and then card was game breaking, absolutely disgusting, should have never been printed. We'll put it right in the middle.
It's also like on the side of like on this side of the table, having played Deku, like the scariest part ever is going, okay, well, I have to turn my entire staging area sideways and play this attack, which I know will kill you if I don't check a 3. And that was when it was a 5. But when that attack is a 4, you go, well, if I check a 3, I commit my character, but you can't press any buttons, so you should die. And I can't fail this. So here's my 4 difficulty attack. I checked a 3, Deku sideways. Shmeep, you have no buttons you can press. Die.
Yeah. And I it's crazy. I think we are now heading into a world where it is a meta call to be playing a real Deku deck, not a deck that is trying to just wombo combo your opponent into the sun. Because guess what? If it's Deku meta, baby, you ain't doing that shit.
Yeah, because Deku has the answer. Yes, because Deku has the answer to his own thing, which
then you get into the counterplay to the counterplay, which are Foundation
really
cancel Deku, which is like Disarming Glance and Special Forces Elite.
Void
which
Deku
are their
also
own things, and it's just
it's just such an inbred meta, right? When you think about
completely,
it.
Yes, it's like actually disgusting.
Yeah, Void Deku also, it's like I have done all of these like thought exercises as they're brought up, and then I've been like, whatever, it's fine. People will either do that or not. And like Void Deku has a way to just turn off unyielding. That's a pro. Void Deku also does not have Phantom Threat. That's a con. Void
that doesn't matter anymore though.
Access, but I was gonna say Void Deku has access to Wingnut Sabotage, so it doesn't matter. So like you can just do that. Void Deku also has access to Violent Animus Shot. You can just do that.
Yeah, it's like the pros and cons are just so skewed now, because so many of the cards, now that we have a set where he has 4 attune symbols in it, the things you're giving up, like you're giving up so much less, because anything you're missing from a main symbol,
you can just borrow.
You can probably find one in your pocket that does something similar.
And also, literally what we were talking about in fucking Hex specifically, all of the air cards that you would quote unquote lose out on, you don't, because even though they're not attuned, they also have void on them. You can just play fucking Goblin Bolt.
Yeah,
and
both
Sweeping
Goblin Bolt,
Daggers.
both Sweeping Daggers, and Goblin Ball, and Animus Shot all have void, right?
Yes,
All
you can
three.
just play all of those cards on the void deck.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow, we get the good
And
ones.
if you go, you know what? It's fine. I'll metagame the metagamers and metagame while I metagame. You can play the stupid fucking Kuwabara card on a good symbol Deku deck, and then they can't flash it in the mirror because you can just cancel their character effect with it. You can just put every form on it, and then you go catch, idiot.
Yeah,
and
the
then
Spirit
go,
Sword
I guess.
Ultimate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
so, yeah. I was like, Power of Love doesn't work, but
No,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimate.
You're the only person that knows the name.
It is
Power of
so.
Love
I think. I think.
I guess
What is the worst part for me about Wingnut Sabotage is like, okay, the part of me that finds this card literally laughable is your rival cannot play enhanced abilities during this attack, and it just has 2 blitzes on it. So like you get like it is just
Let's commit your opponent's asset. Why? Like literally for who?
Not that I even know what asset is like. If they can't like, I don't know what assets don't have enhanced like
Airy.
Oh, Airy!
Yeah,
Oh my god! I didn't even think about that. Oh my god! Oh my god! It's just off Airy.
Oh, dude, it's
That's
incredibly
crazy.
It's so
activate their Team
flavorful.
Doctor instantly.
Yeah,
I guess
so
not, because why would they? Yeah, right.
It's so flavorful, dude. It's a villain attack, and he pushes kids down. Wow, look at that.
It also, it commits their Team Doctor or forces them to use it. Whatever. I mean, it's just like you don't need to play Kraken for assets anymore. You probably don't need to play Kraken at all anymore because that was a card that was played in. How crazy is it that the words just came out of my mouth in your control combo deck, like your like control into OTK combo deck? You don't even have to play Kraken anymore.
Yeah,
how statements dreamed up by the utterly deranged.
Utterly deranged. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. But
why would you play Kraken anymore?
And just
you know what?
icing on
Good
the cake.
question.
If you play Aerial Goblin Bolt to seal their desperate struggle,
gets 2/2,
maybe the only card left that can possibly keep up, Wingnut Sabotage gets an extra 2/2 because your rival has one or more sealed cards in their stage.
That's like fucking 75% of a Deku form or whatever.
Yeah. Not that you'll need Aerial Goblin Bolt to cancel their enhances because they can't play any anyway. But it's
Right,
fun,
exactly.
like it just doesn't.
No. You're missing the crucial part. The Aerial Goblin Bolt is for when you flash their first attack and block with the bolt, so that they can't lead or follow up with unyielding.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. Oh, because it cancels blitzes, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Wow.
That's
That's
I know. I was gonna say.
why-
I know you left early. That's what I was doing the whole tournament,
Yeah,
man.
That's why when I was playing Beast Titan
Oh
attacks,
my
I was
God.
just using it to pick up Goblin Bolt so they couldn't fucking destruction me.
I mean, Deku also gets a Blitz cancel in this set.
Yeah,
Yeah, code
unattuned
edits,
void,
code
blitz
edits,
cancel, pick
code
your
edits.
symbol.
You don't even need you don't even need to play Void to get Unbreakable to cancel the blitz. You can just code edits.
Yeah, but if you
cancel.
do play void, you get 6 of them now. Like, what the fuck?
Auga.
Well, it's a good thing
yeah.
this is a unique, so the most recent one you build can't be
Of
ready.
course, but guess what?
Except it
Unbreakable's not
flips
unique.
itself to cancel a Blitz.
Yeah.
So
Oh my god.
cancel one Blitz, build another. You know.
Literally cancel a blitz and then you block and then
Block
it's a
with
block
Desperate
with it and desperate play it.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yep.
This is oh my god.
I also just hate that like this is the first time in a while that I think we have gotten like really good defensive tools, and all of them are now just going into Deku.
Into Deku. Yeah.
Like,
So
the
okay.
already defensive characters.
So
getting
anyway, like we
access
were
to all
saying,
of
welcome back to the Izuku Midoriya on the Move
Yeah.
podcast.
Literally the Izuku Midoriya on the move, Quirks Unleashed podcast. So
Yeah.
okay. So this is I'm glad that we did this because the next thing I kind of wanted to transition into is which I'm sure there's more that we can talk about this, and I'm sure we will in 2 weeks. I'm sure we'll talk about this more. Like I'm positive. But there was a ban list. It changed the way Unique worked, specifically for just basically it plugged the airship loops, right? Like more or less. Now there are still some you can do,
Asterisk.
but they are harder, right? They are no longer as free. We will get to it. I know that we have discussed a little bit about Equipment Heist, and you are not happy about how that card still functions. And my response to it ended up being kind of, I don't think it matters. Not because Equipment Heist, when you'd pop off, is not egregious. I just don't see why you would do it when what we've just discussed is available. That's basically my like what is your Equipment Heist deck gonna do when Deku just flashes one of your moves? And like that is an ability on his face, or just plays the third. Oh, if he plays Void, he actually gets Hacker Extraordinaire, and he gets to just flip one of your airships face down. And then now it doesn't. Now you can't sacrifice it for pristine swordplay. You know, stuff like that. It's just like,
Yeah.
this character can just. I truly feel like Deku can just do literally anything he wants, and it's like. And he finally got the tools to do so. Like, he always had the potential to do anything he wanted. Now he just has the tools to do it. And
Yeah.
he has so many options. And if you identify cards, that are good against Deku, as Travis said also, you might just be you're like, you could play against 2 Dekus and they could literally be 40 cards different.
Yeah.
It just seems so crazy.
Yeah, and like there's also the infinite in this set with Falling Titans, right?
Yes.
And you look at that, and you look at Deku's like flash it immediately, flip it, or like there's a bunch of cards that flip on block in this set,
Yeah.
and Airy Smiles, and like all these different things, and it's like, would you rather be playing the deck that gets to do all of that and combo, or focus on this other combo that doesn't have nearly like you're playing, like Allura or something? You just like look at how these things line up, and it's like, which side of the table do you want to be on in this interaction?
Yeah, like also
it's just so tough, man.
Your flow attacks in your Deku deck, like not even the ones that you're killing people with 100% of the time, usually they just hit your opponent, right? Like Fajin Flurry is just hard to block. That's not the one that you kill them with like more often than not, but it just hits them. Hang 10's never going to be really the one that you kill someone with, but it could. And if it doesn't, you just scammed like 4 extra cards. Violent Animus Shot, in a format where they printed a bunch of new backups that everyone really likes and wants to put in their decks, is another flash attack that you need little to no setup on, and it will rip a card from your opponent's hand. If you had a defensive resource and Violent Animus Shot is not the thing that's going to kill you, you have to pray your opponent doesn't snipe it out of your hand a la Mop Strike. And it's just like, I don't know, man. It's really, really annoying to think about. Thank God I'm on this side of the table.
Yeah. So one thing I will say is Hacker doesn't actually do anything to the combo, because you build airship on your first sword play, and then you play your second one and you get first enhance.
But what happens when Deku flashes your sword play? Like, what then?
So if he hackers the ready airship, that won't work then, right?
Like, you will
No,
eventually
it
have
still
to
does.
build an airship with the enhance of. Eventually, you'll have to build an airship with the enhance of
Correct.
Equipment
by
Heist, and then you flip it.
Yes, but you always have a ready one after your first sword play results.
Oh, you're saying if you run like more.
If you run, I guess you have to run 3 to 4 of them, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
Sure.
the idea. You're not going to run like 1 to 2 copies. I think that's bad, because then if they just ever remove it, you just lose the game on the spot.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think these schemes are just going to feel so bad to be in our decks. Like, I really like the effect of Equipment Heist. Like, obviously, airship is its own can of worms, whatever. I don't really love that, but like the idea of just pulling all these nonsense assets out of your deck, like here's a spaceship and a massive mutant machine and stuff. And then you look at the deck building requirement, and it's just like so bad.
You have so many cards,
like,
and that's also like, I think the difference between Deku and the rest of these combo decks is like, these cards that Deku's putting in his deck are not bad to draw. If you're not ready to use Wingnut Sabotage to win the game, that's a 1 high block.
Yeah,
you can just block with it.
Yeah, and also like in most variants of the deck, like on the air symbol, I'm playing 4 infinite potential and 4 catching air so that I can turn Airy Smiles on. If I don't have Airy Smiles, I will just make your best attack a high and then 1 high block. Like,
none of
Yeah.
these cards will be stuck in your hand. And as we kind of
No, not at all.
and as we mentioned earlier, like Hang 10 is just a build. It's a build a bear. Like create whatever you want. Like you'll draw as many cards as you want. You're already half of your stage. Every Defiant stance, like if you're playing air, and you have Defiant Stance, Heroic Passions, right? You are just paying essentially nothing and just drawing 8 cards. Every Defiant Stance it's just a free ready draw card, and then
Yeah,
all
'cause
your
also
Heroic
if you-
Passions are doing it too.
Yeah, and if you're on the flip side, your Defiant stances can just literally stay committed. Who cares?
Yeah,
Like you commit all of your defensive resources. Every Defiant stance draws you 1 card because if you have any other foundation to pair with it, that's 2 forms. So it's just like it's insane. It is
Yeah.
crazy.
I think that there's probably also a universe that we haven't really thought about aside from the stupid infinites that the card enables, where like Heist is just the thing that makes Mimic like broken again.
that's
Yeah,
definitely
Because
possible.
I've considered
They're,
it.
they're actually the assets are not bricks in that character,
Yes,
and man, do
yes.
I not want to see Mimic build a massive mutant machine for free.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
that is just so
Yeah.
disgusting.
That
the other
sounds
part of
really
this
good,
though is
too.
you do have to have 3 attacks, which is like you can, pick one up the prior turn and some stuff, but if you're holding a heist, like it's kind of a big ask to get to 3 attacks. Maybe you commit your character to get there by like checking an
Titan
asset.
Cliff.
Yeah, and then
Your
your
Tank Cliff is
margin
away, yeah.
your margin
Yeah.
for error is like razor thin though because he was printed before AOT bloat, so he's just like 25 health is so easy to chew through for like half of any like playable character. And if you're gripping a card with a non-block in your hand, like
It's definitely interesting though. Like I
Yeah,
do think
there's
there's
something
like
there for
potential
sure.
there. Like Heist is just a card that's going to fire neurons for me as long as it's.
Oh, I agree. I just think it is. I just think when I look at the other things available currently, it's like, do I think an Equipment Heist? I think the Equipment Heist deck has so many moving parts, and I do agree with you that in Mimic, the moving parts are not bricks. I think that is my biggest problem with Heist. In the characters that activate it most easily are probably Hawks and Elder and Deviljin. I think Hawks and Deviljin activate it most easily. Elder is most likely to be able to use it for something profitable when he's not ready to do a heist turn, which is also very relevant, right? It minimizes like he can actually use the brick cards for approximately something when the other characters cannot. However,
he's also
I do
Hawks
think
is also not minus hand size.
Yeah, I do think Hawks and Elder still probably don't want to be holding on to these cards when they don't have to be, because although their defensive utility is quite good, it doesn't mean you can just play with multiple like no block cards in your hand. And like if you just happen to draw 2 Equipment Heists in a grip, you just are down so much. Like you're not building, you're not doing anything profitable, whatever. But
there are a couple others, like the Jank lover in me sees a lot of potential in nonsense with this card, but like Overhaul can build them face down, right? Like he can turn an extra Equipment Heist into a foundation if he needs to. And like there's other funny interactions as you go down the chain and see worse stuff. I think the most interesting to me personally are like the Hawk's Feather stuff, because you get the extra attacks for free. And then like I'm also looking at beast summoning symbols because that spawns extra attacks, and it can like Deviljin on Fire, for example, would be a good way to get there.
You can do it with the football. I can't remember the name of it actually, but the one where you pitch a card.
Yeah, Jaw Titan's Bite.
But then you're still playing those on like the reason I feel like the Hawks one's also the
4,
most
5, 6,
reasonable is like you're not playing it with because when you're playing the third attack in your card pool, like Deviljin is kind of skirting progressive difficulty through various means. I don't really know what assets you're getting out of your deck with Deviljin other than just the mutant machine, and just if Deviljin can throw +5/+5 on 2 attacks, you're probably dead. Like, just throwing it out there.
Who cares about the block?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To be fair, people were already kind of playing Mimicry and Deviljin to copy Exam Strat, right?
Yeah, if you pull a Mimicry for Exam Strat and you do it 2 or 3 times, I mean that's but that's actually worse than That's actually
'cause you have the
worse
forms
than...
and the
It, so
mimicry
it
stuff.
can
Yeah.
be. It
Yeah.
can be. There are a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
times where it's not worse than that.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, like, yes, like your first one, you'll get mutant machine, then you'll get mimicry, then you can form it, and then you can get a mutant machine and exam strategy on the same attack, and like
Yes.
they're probably exploding. So like, sure, I do agree with that. Like, that's probably they're dead, but I don't even necessarily. But like, are you putting these actions in your 5-hand size character? Like, it just seems still a little dubious and inconsistent. And it's things like, even if these things are strong, the way I'm looking at it is like, am I going to travel to a tournament to play the 7th strongest thing? The answer was yes, because I did play Hawks for a year. But
Yeah.
other than that, I will maintain for at least 2 of those tournaments, I think Hawks was actually like the 3rd best thing. But still, so the answer is yes in some aspects, but am I going to play the 7th best thing available for something like that? I don't even necessarily think so. But
I mean, you know,
and
it's
also,
more like if it fires the right neurons, we're like, oh yes, you know, like us in doing the Thunder Spear Ray Fillet, like pick up Thunder Spear Barrage.
that
stuff
sounds
in
more
hand,
fun
you know,
to
like-
me than
Yeah,
that sounds
exactly.
a lot more fun
and that's
to me.
probably like the 9th best thing you could be
Yeah,
doing.
yeah. I
However,
agree.
it's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, based on our previous discussion, the 7th best thing you could be doing is the 7th iteration or symbol combination of Deku. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
Deku might be things
we're
1
pooling
through
all
4.
those into, you know,
Yeah,
Deku,
1A, 1B,
Deku might,
1C.
He
yes,
is
literally,
all one
Deku
thing.
Deku period might be the top 10 decks in the format.
Yeah.
And then okay,
God.
so I guess like I also still think the backup decks are good. Like, I think
they're extremely
Zeke
good.
is still
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
I think Hanj is still good, right? Like, I even though Zeke gets 0 new cards from TMNT, as a whole, we do agree TMNT is weaker than the AOT sets. So I think Zeke is still a real relevant top deck. However, Deku, the anointed one, gets to play the AOT cards and the older cards and the
Yes.
TMNT cards, and it's like,
Yes, the
just
Lisan Al Fayib symbols. Yeah.
I need to get a Thanos alt that's just Deku
Just
with
Deku-
both.
yes, just
with
literally-
both gauntlets. He's
Oh my
got
God.
10 stones.
oof.
Yeah, so
the
like
front side is him getting his head almost cut off, and it's just you should have aimed for the head, and then he
Yes.
flips and it's Thanos on the chair.
Basically.
You fool! You had
So,
1 chance. Oh, dude, that's so
Zico-
good because if you reduce the damage to 1 on something, should have been for the head. Oh my god, cinema.
Yeah, so from the backup stuff, like looking at the regional, I feel like a lot of those didn't have a plan for Harness Undeath or Animus Shot, and they just kind of sent it and it walked because people were underplaying those cards. I think those decks are going to struggle a bit now that people are aware and should be playing those cards. And that is kind of a point in Zeke's corner for me because I think that my plan for cards like Animus Shot early on was pretty good. You know, like against those decks, I was only building 1 backup until I felt like I was safe to get like far enough ahead, because then if they flash it and they remove my backup, I can block and I don't get, 3 for 1 or whatever.
Well, thank
Yeah.
God Harness Undeath shares no symbols with TMNT. So...
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I
sure,
was
yeah.
worried.
But Animus
Yeah.
Shot,
Animus Shot
Um,
does, yeah. And Animus Shot does have Aaron Void.
yeah, I just think like there's going to be a
And
good
Evil.
amount of Animus Shot out and about, especially with people like playing the elusive backups. Like I'm expecting at least some number of like Gecko, and then people will like Genghis Frog and stuff, like whatever.
Yeah.
And their pony deck get +3 damage on everything, that kind of thing. But
Mhm.
I think Animus Shot is going to make it a harder bracket run than it was before for a lot of these 9 Titans decks. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I also think
Even
Animus
if
Shot
they're
is
very strong.
disproportionately strong against Hanji specifically,
Yes.
because Hanj has the whole gimmick is the 9 Titans I start with cannot be attacked, and then Animus Shot just executes it firing squad style, right? And then
Yeah,
what?
literally.
Just like
And
that
you're like,
one. Yeah,
if
that
they
one's more
double 9
dubious.
Titans to make it 0, and you remove one of them, they're not happy about that. Like they tapped two 9
Yes.
Titans
Yeah.
and lost a backup, and that's
Yeah.
still very bad for them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if Deku forms the animus shot before he plays it, you can't even zero it with that, right? Like if Deku puts if Deku puts if Deku puts 2 forms on animus shot and then plays it, attacking one, you need 3, right, to zero it out.
Yeah,
Or
even
else
like Justin's
it'll
Fire Hunch and be like desperate struggle 2 9 Titans.
Yeah, I
full
guess
send.
that's it, right?
You're not happy about it, but yeah.
It is also worth noting for specifically Han, she sure gets to play Genghis. And like Genghis 9 Titans game,
Is that
it has fire.
oh
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I don't know.
It is a
I don't
5, right? You can't start with
you
it.
You can play
Well,
it.
you
It
You
is
can
a
play
five.
it.
go second.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, no,
you
I
can
mean
just
you
play
don't
it
start
on
the
turn
game
one
with
going
it.
second.
I mean, like you
Yeah.
don't. Or
Yeah.
granted, I think it's Titans only, but yeah, and they're allowed to attack them at least.
Yes.
Granted, if you
Well,
attack Genghis Frog, you
in air
burn.
quotes because of elusive.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they
Yes.
have to play 2 moves to touch this
Yeah.
guy, or animus shot it,
Yeah,
I
or
guess.
animus
but,
shot,
like,
yeah.
I guess you could now go Hunter's Ally, build this Titan pile,
Yes.
die.
You can also desperate plea build it like when you
Yeah.
block with it, because it sure is a 0 mid block.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It is a 0 mid block. Yeah.
I just like my funny Gecko backup. He's cool.
I think he's also very.
He's so much more reasonable.
Yes. Yeah, he's
Not +3 on everything. You attack it, burn, suffer.
die. Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
It's
burn, suffer, die.
it over.
Speaking of cards that Deku can play, Smile, Mondo
Mhm.
Gecko.
Yeah, Mondo Gecko.
Excellent.
Yep.
He's
Mondo
he's
Gecko.
freaking-
He is in my.
There's your speed
current-
reduction, Mitch.
Yeah, what do you think what do you think was my first cut? It was the card that said kick and commit for -2 speed.
Oh, Bill Birch
and
is
now
so happy.
and now everyone's happy. Yeah, that was my current iteration of Deku on the border has Mondo Geku in it, and we'll continue to have those cards. I honestly like. I would be willing to take bets over under. I'll set the line at 30% of what cards in my deck actually share the main symbol, quote unquote, with my character.
I think it might be less. I think it might be
I
less. Than
that's
that.
that's why I set the line at 30. It's a good line.
Oh, okay,
no?
yeah.
Do you want the under?
It was legitimately so egregious at the regional. There were 3 different occasions where I played my entire first build turn. My opponent looked at my staging area and my discard pile and went, "What's your main symbol?"
Yeah, like I actually don't know.
Yeah,
And I
literally.
went,
open deck list moment. What are you playing?
Yeah.
like, I'm playing the air symbol. You would never know, but I'm playing the air symbol.
There's indeed one card in here.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and in all reality, this will be less than 32 people for the tournament for Toronto.
It's looking like it. It's looking like it's really.
It is looking like if
Yeah.
you attend Toronto, and by Toronto I mean an hour outside of Toronto for some reason, you will top 32 at regional. So congratulations to all attending.
God, I wish I would have been able to go. Oh, that would have been the freest world points of all time.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, it is Wub will be there, so we got that going for us. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's weird because like, unless all of the less than 32 people that will likely wind up at this event are currently listening to this podcast and actively change what they're doing, there will probably be like 3 Dekus in the room.
I was gonna
max.
say
People are just gonna play what they want.
People
do
will just play
not
what they
know.
want. I will show up with Deku. I will ship it somehow, and then everyone will go lol.
I don't know how much better I'll have to think Deku is to not play Hawks. Like I'll have to like there is a line. A line exists.
No.
I don't know
You
how
will-
much better.
You will play Hawks.
I think
You will
I'll
play
have
Hawks.
like I'm trying to think how many games would I have to lose to you to just be like I cannot enter with Hawks. Well, it only took me like 2 to not play Evil Hawks at the last one.
Yeah.
I think it. Yeah,
you
but
have 4/4 feather 4/4 4/4.
yeah, that card is really good. That's true. Setting the
It
standard is
is.
pretty good.
It's
Mhm.
crazy. I looked at Hawks after and like the card pool he had access to after Louisville, and I was like, man, I think this guy was actually sleeper good this
I
format.
don't think so, but maybe. I tried a lot. I tried a lot.
I get it. It's just like I don't know.
And by that you mean in the 2 days between you getting back from nationals.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
okay.
I didn't
The
try that much.
tournament,
You know what? You're actually right. I actually didn't try
Right.
that much.
Yeah.
I actually didn't try that
Alternate
much.
Time.
Right. To end us out here, Ryan. Alternate timeline. If you had entered Louisville with Hawks, would you have flown home?
Probably not. Probably not. I probably would have stayed. I probably would have
Play
kept
out the
playing.
goat.
Yeah. I probably would have kept playing.
All right, now we know the answer on you playing Deku.
Yeah.
Yes,
Maybe.
Anyways, guys, this has been the Always Angry podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you guys in Toronto. There'll probably be at least one more episode before then, 'cause it's like a month away, right?
Yeah.
Think so, yeah.
I don't really know what's going on in between now and then. There's like a community event.
There
I think
a
I saw
lot
posted.
there's the is it the
There's the webcam
Spain
thing.
regional?
Spain.
Spain?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
Spain. I think by the time that we record next, Spain will have happened. I'm
believe
pretty sure.
so.
I
I
don't
believe
know.
so.
I don't know if the OCE regional will have happened by then, but it is before Toronto, to my knowledge.
Yes.
But
yes, it is.
we'll have some amount of new stuff to talk about, but obviously, until we are allowed to talk about new sets cards, we are just gonna probably whinge about the things we find in testing with turtles. In 2 weeks, if we decide the Deku is unplayable, we are all schizophrenic.
It'll be funny.
and
to look back
Yeah,
at.
it'll be really
It'll
fun to look back at this.
Yeah, it'll be-
Yes, if we that would be very fun to look back at this if we just immediately determine Deku's unplayable.
Yeah, I will still play it for Toronto. There's no way I don't.
It's okay.
But all right. That being said, guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.